Mhm. Yeah, we're recording. Okay. So, I want to talk about. I remember coming to Springfield as a kid, and I was um, playing basketball when I was homeschooled. So, we would travel, for games and stuff, and we would come to Springfield every now and then because it's like, I don't know, 5 hours away. Maybe it might have even been 4 hours away from where we actually played basketball at, anyways. It wasn't that far. But we would come up here, and we would come up here like once a year, and we never wanted to come. We always hated it because we would come up here and they would just do us so dirty. Like, they would foul us, people would get broken bones, people would get black eyes, and the refs would always take their side, right? Like, they could do whatever they wanted to us, and the refs would just let it happen. Well, one of our girls like kind of pinched the uniform on one of their players to, anyways, playing basketball, whatever. The ref freaks out, throws her out of the game, blah blah blah. And so every year we'd have these problems with them. We'd play different schools, different, teams and stuff, but every time we'd play somebody from Springfield, it was just shit. But we would come back because it was like, oh, we've never played this team before, maybe they'll be better, right? Or they would lie and say, well, we have a new coach now, so come back and play us again. Or we have a new team now, come back and play us again. So we would. And, maybe twice a year. And always hated it, always hated it. And we were at one game, and we got a little bit rowdy, and we made these, like, shaker things. We took plastic bottles and put rocks in them, and we're shaking them to make noise, in the stands. And we were stomping around and clapping and just being overwhelming and obnoxious for sure. And out of nowhere, they called the police on us. They never said, hey, settle down, you're being too loud, or anything. I mean, we were pretty good kids. If they would have confronted us and said, hey, stop that, we would have cut it out. But we were hyper and whatever, and they called the police. And we were like, oh my God. And one kid started vomiting, like, people were freaking out. Some of the kids thought, this is the end of my life, like, I'm not going to go to college now because now I'm a criminal. And at the same time that the police had been called, one of the parents didn't know the police had already been called, and we were, still playing. And one of the parents started getting confrontational with the ref. He wasn't being aggressive or anything. He was just like, hey, this isn't fair, blah, blah, blah. And the ref's like, I'm throwing you out. And he's like, why? I didn't do anything. I'm just, and he's like, I'm throwing you out. And anyway, so the police show up, and the guy's like, wow, they called the police because I told the ref that wasn't fair. I didn't yell at him. I didn't touch him. I didn't do anything. And they're like, no, we called the police because your kids are being too rowdy. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like, why didn't you say something? Or, like, yeah, okay, we get it. Yeah, we were being pretty loud, but just to randomly call the police. So that whole experience has me remembering that whole experience, it makes sense because this is basically a police state, right? Like, anytime I sit down somewhere for 2 seconds, police show up. Even when I was in my car, if I went into McDonald's, buy food, sit down in my car eating the food, they call the police. It's like you can't really avoid it. I've already gotten 3 citations for loitering, and it wasn't like I was, what other states would consider loitering. It was just I was there for like less than 10 minutes, or they just randomly called the police without even saying anything, or they were being confrontational and there's like a power struggle type deal. So very much, a police state. And it is kind of weird there's not more like areas that people can smoke at, because a lot of people here, I mean, they ride the bus. Like, look, there's literally a bus line right here. That's how many people ride the bus. Um, being from Arkansas, that's not really a thing in Arkansas. Everybody has a car. If you're an adult, get a car, grow the fuck up. Here, people, they ride the bus. I don't know. And so you would think they would have like smoke areas and places you can go. They have like 3 parks here in the whole city, and 2 of them are basically just for kids. Like, if I were to go there and like try to read a book or something, they would say, oh, you don't have kids here, you're loitering. So it's just weird. Like, I don't know. And how aggressive those kids would play basketball just kind of like shows the attitude of the city, you know, like every single team we played, people would get seriously injured and hurt, and it was really odd to see that, and then to see that same attitude even now, you know, a lot of aggression, a lot of police. It's a police state. So don't come here. Go through St. John. Learned that lesson the hard way. Been here for weeks. Still can't get out. Don't know how. I shouldn't have been here for more than a few days. I should have quit while I was ahead and just moved on, even though I didn't have enough money to just move on. And yeah, just dealt with it because this is not it. But I'm gonna talk to some people, see what we can get done. And it does suck that these things take time because then you don't have time. If you're anywhere for more than 2 minutes, they're gonna call the police. And what's crazy is, like, even if you have money and you spend money in an establishment, they'll still call the police on you for loitering, and you've only been there for like 5 minutes total. But I'll show you the garden since we're out here. Oh yeah, they're fine with that shit, but God forbid somebody sit down on grass somewhere, you know, or park their car for 5 minutes. This stuff is getting eaten up by the sun, obviously. I think they should plant sunflowers out here, like on the grass part. It's good they got clover. I've noticed a lot of clover in the city. You know, I planted a lot of clover here last time I was here, so that, I don't know if this is me or not, but I know at one door, a lot of that was me. I don't think I ever came out here. I think this is just natural, like, they allow shit like that to happen too. But like I said, God forbid you buy food and then try to sit down and eat it somewhere. You're a fucking criminal.